Now what, in the end, all the Zen series, the questions you would ask.
Yes.
So I was often wondering, like, would you choose or do the research? And, there would be a Zen koan and he would talk about it. And in the end, you would ask these questions, and some of these questions, like, I thought, wow, like, would you make those questions yourself?
It was amazing sadhana or meditation, because one day he said he was going to start speaking on the live Zen series, and I was to go to his library and choose Zen anecdotes. So that was great, that was lovely, it was an honor to be in his library. And so then I sent in the anecdotes, and then just a few hours before he's due to speak, someone came up with a message that OSHO says to make up questions. So I was, what? I mean, these Zen anecdotes are so enigmatic, and to write a question about them presupposed that, I mean, I had to understand to a degree in order to know what to ask a question about. So it seemed a koan in itself that I had to read and have some degree of understanding about these very enigmatic stories and create a question. However, that was what he said to do, so I did it, and it was extraordinary. I think I asked, I counted once, over 300 questions, because it was several years that this went on. And every night I'd go to sleep thinking, I've got to have a question for tomorrow, I've got to think up a question tomorrow morning. And sometimes I'd wake up and there'd be 3 or 4 questions, so, and then I'd think, okay, 3 or 4, good, that's 3 or 4 days worth. And the other part said, no, Maneesha, that's not very Osho-ish, just fling them all in, So I did that, and he would choose them all. So I thought, okay, that's my little supply gone. I have to start again. So it was an amazing koan, and I thought, why is he asking me? And he'd be saying in discourse, questions are just of the mind, you've got to drop your mind, drop your questions. I thought, yes, but you're telling me to write questions. Why? And someone said, did you never think to ask him? But I didn't, because I wouldn't. It would feel weird. Your master says do something, you wouldn't say why. I just trusted. Well, this is what he wanted. It wasn't even trust, it was, this is what he said to do, so of course I would do it.
No, I have sat in discourses, and sometimes when I heard those questions, it was like, wow, they were really like, I could really relate to them, and some of them like spot on.
Well, some of them
I mean, I don't remember, of course, all these, but I remember the feeling that I had.
Yes.
And it was like they really came from, not your mind, I would say, from some source.
Well, it's funny because someone said you're the vox populi. Do you know that Latin expression? It means the people's voice, that the questions were coming through me. But I wasn't aware of that. I was just doing my thing. But I did once ask a question that he said, this is an intellectual question, Maneesha, when would you ask? Like, whoa, big whack, So they had to be experiential. And how much experience can you have in 24 hours when actually half of that you're sleeping?
Or you're cleaning, or you're researching.
Well, I wasn't cleaning at this point, okay. But I only had so many waking hours to have an experience that vaguely related to the question and that wasn't intellectual. It was amazing. But what the overarching thing for me was, I felt so exposed because I was sitting very close to him, about as close as you and I are, and so there's no escape. He's right there looking into my eyes, and I knew that however innocuous a question might be, if I needed hitting, he was going to hit me. In fact, once I wrote to him saying, I just realized that you're going to hit me regardless of what I ask, aren't you? Just for the joy of it. And he said, yes, Maneesha, I'm going to hit you just for the joy of it. So I knew if I needed hitting, and I did get some big hits. So I felt the image I had, I felt like I was on on a surgeon's table, and Osho was poised above me with a knife, and all the fellow sannyasins were like medical students above, peering down. What's he doing to her? So, but I felt completely naked, and I just felt, do what needs to be done.
Yeah.
And he did, and it was painful sometimes. It was painful, but I just felt completely in trust, and that was an amazing feeling, to feel, however much it hurts, here I am, do it. Do whatever's needed.
And love and compassion.
Yes, so, and respect. I felt so, he looked at me in such a loving way. And then of course the great honor, the first time that we entered that Zen series, and he said Maneesha, and then that was the start, every discourse. And I thought, I don't know why he's but just felt incredibly, as I still do when I hear it, incredibly touched. And he referred to them as Maneesha's collections. One night he said Maneesha's collections, after we're all gone, they will still be there. And I thought, they're not my collections, they're Osho's talks, but just that degree of respect from him and love. I need a tissue. Sometimes people say to me, how does it feel seeing or hearing your voice asking those questions? And it's curious, I think of myself as her. And I think, oh, her hair looks nice today. Oh, I like the sari she's wearing. Or I remember wearing that sari.
Oh, I liked you so much in the Indian saris
I
that
loved
you
wearing
wore, and
saris.
you're this black long hair. And
I loved
so
wearing saris. And or I hear it sometimes, and it happens still, I hear a question, I think, that's a bit of a dopey question. I can't relate to others. I think, oh, that's not bad. Yeah, that's what I would ask. You did ask it. So I have a funny relationship with that girl. I think of as when I see that figure, because it's a long time ago, and I look very different